You wake up at 3 a.m. again, staring at the ceiling, heart racing for no reason you can name. But you know the reason. Deep down you know. You gave them everything. Not just time. Not just money when they were broke. Not just late-night listening sessions where you swallowed your own tears so theirs could fall freely. You gave them your trust when trusting anyone felt impossible, your energy when you had none left, your hope when hope was the only thing keeping you breathing. You rearranged your entire life around their crises, their dreams, their moods. You defended them to others, celebrated them louder than you ever celebrated yourself, forgave things no one should have to forgive again and again and again, because you believed the words they said in the soft moments. You're different. You're special. I've never had anyone like you. You're family to me. And you believed it. God, you believed it so hard it became part of your skeleton. Then the moment came when the roles reversed. You cracked. You needed them, not wanted, needed. A voice on the phone at 2 a.m., a hand to hold when your world was collapsing, someone to remember you exist when everything inside you was screaming. And they weren't there, busy, going through something. Not in the headspace, or worse, just silence. The kind of silence that echoes louder than any argument ever could. The excuses so paper thin you could see the lie through them. The absence so complete it felt like they had never been real in the first place. And in that hollow, ringing quiet, the truth finally spoke in your own voice. They never cared. They used you. Every late-night rescue, every loan, every hour you spent pouring yourself into their cup while yours ran dry. They took it because it was convenient. You were convenient. A soft place to land, a wallet when they were short, an ego boost when they felt small, a therapist who never sent an invoice. You weren't loved. You were useful, and the worst part, a part of you still wants to believe it was real. A part of you is still making excuses for them inside your head right now. Maybe they were going through something. Maybe I expected too much. Maybe I'm overreacting. No, you're not overreacting. You're finally seeing clearly. That hollow ache in your chest isn't weakness, it's clarity. That anger rising under your ribs isn't bitterness, it's dignity waking up. That voice whispering never again isn't paranoia. It's wisdom finally getting loud enough to be heard. On strength within, we don't sugarcoat the pain. We face it. We name it. And then we turn it into armor. Today we're going straight into the heart of what the ancient Stoics knew thousands of years ago, what modern psychology is only now proving, and what your own soul has been screaming for months. The people who only take from you are not your people. And the fastest way to stop attracting them, stop keeping them, stop losing yourself to them, is to learn, once and for all, how to never expose yourself again. Not out of fear, out of sovereignty, not out of bitterness, out of self-respect. Because the moment you stop handing your inner world to people who treat it like a convenience store, the moment you stop performing vulnerability for people who only consume it, the moment you stop explaining your depth to people who only skim the surface, that's the moment your life stops feeling like a revolving door of disappointment and starts feeling like a fortress you actually want to live in. If you've ever felt used, discarded, confused about why your loyalty keeps meeting betrayal, or quietly terrified that maybe you're just too much or not enough, stay with me. This isn't another motivational speech. This is a reclamation, and it starts right now. That moment of realization is one of the most disorienting, heartbreaking, and quietly devastating experiences a human being can endure. It's not just betrayal. It's betrayal dressed up as care, love, friendship, partnership, mentorship, or family. The hurt isn't only in what they took from you, it's in what they made you question about yourself. Am I not worth real reciprocity? Why do I keep choosing people who drain me dry? How did I miss the signs for so long when they were right in front of me? And most painfully, how do I stop this cycle before it repeats and leaves me even emptier next time? The ancient Stoics, who lived through courts riddled with flattery, false alliances, political intrigue, and ruthless self-interest, understood this pain intimately and offered razor-sharp tools to protect against it. Marcus Aurelius, emperor constantly surrounded by schemers, betrayers, and opportunists, wrote daily reminders to himself to guard his inner citadel and judge others by actions rather than appearances. Epictetus, once enslaved and physically crippled by a cruel master, taught that we cannot control others' hearts or intentions, but we can control who we allow into our inner circle, how much power we grant them over our peace, and when we must walk away with dignity intact. Seneca warned against relationships that function like parasites, quietly feeding on your virtue, your resources, your time, your emotional labor while offering nothing nourishing, nothing reciprocal, nothing real in return. On Strength Within, we take that timeless Stoic wisdom, forged in the fires of real human betrayal, loss, and survival, and transform it into clear, practical armor for your modern life. Today we are exploring the powerful Stoic practice of never exposing yourself, guarding your inner world, your dreams, your struggles, your victories, your plans, your doubts, and your deepest self from unnecessary revelation. In an age of constant oversharing, performative vulnerability, and social media validation traps, the Stoics offer a radical, liberating alternative. The strength of silence, the dignity of discretion, the sovereignty of privacy. This is not about hiding out of fear or shame. This is about protecting what is sacred, cultivating what is fragile, and allowing true growth to happen away from the harsh glare of external judgment, envy, comparison, or exploitation. The Stoics understood that some seeds must be planted in darkness to sprout, some fires must burn quietly to become strong, and some truths must be kept close to remain powerful. If you have ever felt drained by sharing too much, regretted opening up to the wrong person, noticed how your dreams lose magic when spoken too early, or sensed that your inner peace is eroded by constant exposure, this video is your shield and your sanctuary. Watch until the end. Each lesson builds upon the last, forging a complete armor of inner sovereignty. If this message is resonating deeply right now, hit that like button to affirm your commitment to protecting your energy. In the comments, type "I choose sovereignty" to lock in your decision to guard what is sacred within you. Share this video with anyone who needs this reminder. They may be one insight away from reclaiming their peace. Subscribe to Strength Within and turn on notifications. We release weekly Stoic-powered tools to help you build unbreakable inner strength, razor-sharp discernment, emotional sovereignty, radical self-respect, and the courage to keep what is yours truly yours. Let's forge your inner fortress, starting right now. In an era where constant exposure on social media and the need to share every aspect of personal life have become the norm, Stoic philosophy offers a refreshing and contrary perspective. The practice of modesty and discretion. There is an inherent power in maintaining certain aspects of private life and in guarding against the tendency to seek external validation. This approach not only promotes tranquility of mind and self-sufficiency, but also protects us from the volatility of others' opinions and the ephemeral nature of external recognition. For Stoics, serenity comes from mastery over one's inner self, not from the approval of others. They teach that true freedom and peace are found in living according to one's own values and principles without the need to expose every thought, action, or achievement. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea that self-control and self-sufficiency are fundamental for a well-lived life. By choosing what we share with the world and what we keep to ourselves, we exercise this control, strengthening our character and resilience. This exploration will take us through the profound reasons the Stoics advised silence in so many areas of life. We will examine why they chose not to speak about achievements, challenges not yet overcome, good deeds, resentments, deepest dreams, next steps, doubts and uncertainties, criticism of others, moments of solitude, unlearned lessons, deepest plans, and much more. Each refusal to expose was deliberate, rooted in wisdom about human nature, the fragility of growth, the dangers of vanity, the power of internal cultivation, and the protection of the soul's sacred space. Let's begin with the foundational Stoic insight that true growth, like a seed, requires silence and darkness. Don't talk about your achievements, imagine diving into the dark and deep waters of your own soul. For the Stoics, the pursuit of wisdom and virtue resembled this profound journey. They believed that true fulfillment wasn't in displaying external triumphs, but in introspection and continuous evolution. Every challenge, every struggle, was fought not in public arenas, but in the silent landscapes of the spirit. By discussing their victories, they warned, we invite ego and vanity, barriers that stand between us and true virtue. Their obsession with external recognition ties us to chains of pride, trapping us in the empty pursuit of fleeting applause, a path filled with disappointment. True achievement, they taught, isn't the one stopped to be admired, but the one that silently transforms the individual, nurturing noble values like justice, compassion, and wisdom. Wealth for these ancient sages wasn't accumulated in vaults, but in the depths of a balanced and serene soul. Instead of celebrating triumphs or withering in defeat, they embraced a quiet acceptance of all the whims of life. They invited us to recognize that the dance of existence is orchestrated by melodies often beyond our control. In this remarkable silence, we find a deliberate choice, a commitment to genuine greatness. They believed that true majesty lay in living with integrity, dedicating oneself to virtue, and leaving a legacy that humility, sincerity, and the ceaseless pursuit of wisdom were the true pillars of a life worth living. Consider Marcus Aurelius. As emperor, he achieved more visible success than almost any human in history. Yet in his private meditations, never intended for publication, he never boasts. He writes to himself, "Do what is necessary, and whatever the reason of a social animal naturally requires, and as it requires." His victories were for the empire and for virtue, not for applause. He understood that speaking of achievements often dilutes their moral weight and invites envy, flattery, or comparison, all enemies of inner tranquility. Seneca echoes this: the greatest empire is to be emperor of oneself. He warns that publicizing success feeds vanity and makes us dependent on others' opinions. Epictetus, the former slave, adds, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." The greatest teachers never needed to announce their wisdom. They lived it quietly, and its power was felt in their actions, not their announcements. When we broadcast every promotion, every milestone, every personal victory, we risk turning inward growth into outward performance. The joy becomes diluted by the need for likes, comments, validation. Envy arises in others. Resentment brews when the praise is less than expected. Worst of all, we begin to measure our worth by external applause instead of internal alignment with virtue. On Strength Within, we teach that real achievement whispers. It transforms you from the inside out without needing a megaphone. The next time you accomplish something meaningful, finish a difficult project, overcome a personal fear, reach a fitness goal, mend a broken relationship, pause. Feel the quiet satisfaction in your chest. Let it settle in silence. Watch how much more powerful it becomes when it belongs only to you. Protecting achievements in silence also preserves their purity. When you don't speak, you don't invite comparison. You don't open the door to jealousy or sabotage. You keep the energy focused inward, where it fuels further growth instead of being scattered outward for temporary ego stroking. Practical exercise. For the next 30 days, when something good happens, big or small, write it in a private journal instead of posting it. Note how it feels in your body, the warmth, the calm pride. Compare that feeling to times when you shared publicly. You will notice the private version is deeper, longer lasting, and free of the anxiety of waiting for reactions. This is the first pillar of never exposing yourself. Achievements gain their true weight in silence. Don't talk about challenges not yet overcome in the Stoic path to wisdom and virtue. Every step was filled with meaning. The deviations and stumbling blocks weren't mere obstacles. They carved the soul, shaped character, and taught about the true nature of grandeur. It wasn't the visible triumph that counted, but the internal battles, often invisible, that determined a person's inner strength. But if these struggles held so much value, why did the Stoics advise not to speak about challenges not yet overcome? The answer lies in their astute perception of human nature. They believed that ego and pride could cloud our vision, making us blind to true virtue. The relentless pursuit of external recognition and praise could become a veil that hides our true potential. The Stoics did not value achievements that could be easily displayed as trophies. They sought true glory in acts that elevated humanity, acts rooted in values like justice, generosity, and wisdom. Real wealth for them wasn't in the shine of gold, but in the radiance of morally upright character and a tranquil soul. The philosophy of loving fate, amor fati, was fundamental to this understanding. The Stoics didn't despair in the face of adversity. Instead, they balanced the taste of victory and defeat with equanimity, aware that the tapestry of life is woven with threads of circumstances often beyond our control. Speaking about struggles before they are resolved invites premature judgment, unsolicited advice from people who don't understand the full context, pity that weakens resolve, or, worst of all, people who secretly hope you fail so they can feel better about their own lives. The Stoics knew that the human ego is fragile. When we broadcast our difficulties, we hand others power over our emotional state. We become vulnerable to their opinions, their pity, their schadenfreude. Epictetus said, "Other people's views and troubles can be contagious. Don't sabotage yourself by unwittingly adopting negative, unproductive attitudes through your associations with others. When you share a challenge you're still in the middle of, you open the door to exactly that contagion." Seneca advised, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is sufficient, for he that is so wants nothing." Talking about unsolved problems keeps us mentally anchored in anxiety and future tripping instead of present moment acceptance and action. Marcus Aurelius practiced this rigorously. In his meditations, he reflects deeply on his own faults, fears, and challenges, but only to himself. He never broadcast them to the court or the public. He understood that announcing struggles before resolution can create pressure, expectation, or even self-fulfilling prophecy. When others know you're struggling, their gaze changes. Some root for you, others, consciously or unconsciously, root against you. Both distort your inner clarity. The Stoic approach is to face the difficulty in silence, wrestle with it internally, apply reason and virtue, and only speak, if at all, once you have overcome it and extracted the lesson. That way your sharing becomes wisdom, not complaint, inspiration, not cry for help. Practical application. The next time you're in the middle of a hard season, financial strain, relationship tension, health issue, career setback, commit to silence about it with everyone except perhaps one trusted mentor or journal. Notice how your focus sharpens when the struggle belongs only to you. You stop performing the role of victim or warrior in progress. You simply do the work. When not if you come through the other side, you will feel the victory more deeply because it was yours alone. This is the second pillar. Unresolved challenges are sacred ground. Speak of them only when they have become wisdom. Don't talk about your good deeds. Imagine a candle that silently lights up a dark room. Its light is gentle, unobtrusive, but it warms and illuminates everything around it. Kindness, for the Stoics, was much like this flame. They believed that true generosity didn't need to be proclaimed in public squares or shouted from the mountaintops. It should, in its essence, be a genuine and subtle gesture, done out of the simple desire to do good without expecting praise in return. Why might this perspective seem strange in today's self-promotion culture? For a profound reason. As the Stoics recognized, the danger of turning kindness into a spectacle. After all, if we brag about every altruistic act, we might inadvertently seek the fleeting warmth of applause. Keeping our good deeds in the cloak of anonymity provides us with a sacred moment of reflection and pause. A moment of intimate connection with ourselves where we can question whether our actions were genuine or motivated by other interests. This secret self-analysis becomes a catalyst for personal improvement. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lay the belief that true kindness doesn't seek the spotlight. It manifests in acts of compassion, quiet and authentic. This timeless wisdom envelops us with its essence and reminds us of a fundamental truth. Often the greatest act of kindness is the one offered without expecting anything in return. Seneca wrote extensively on benefits de beneficiis, arguing that the giver should not remind the receiver of the favor, nor should the giver publicize it. To do so turns a virtuous act into a transaction, robbing it of moral purity. He who receives a benefit with gratitude repays the first installment on his debt, he says, But the giver who boasts has already collected his payment in praise, leaving the act hollow. Epictetus adds, "Don't be overheard boasting about your good deeds. Let them speak for themselves." He understood that publicizing generosity often stems from insecurity, a need to prove one's goodness rather than simply be good. Marcus Aurelius lived this. Despite being emperor, he performed countless acts of clemency, generosity, and justice without fanfare. His meditations are filled with reminders to himself to act virtuously without seeking recognition. Do what is necessary and discard the rest. He knew that announcing good deeds invites suspicion. What do they want in return? Or resentment, why them and not me? In modern terms, think of the difference between the person who quietly helps a stranger in need versus the person who films it for social media. The first act is pure, the second is performance. The Stoics would argue that only the first truly elevates the soul. Practical exercise. For the next month, perform one anonymous act of kindness daily. Pay for someone's coffee, leave an encouraging note, donate without your name attached, help a colleague without mentioning it. Notice how it feels when no one knows. The satisfaction is deeper, less fleeting, and completely yours. You begin to do good for goodness sake, not for likes or thank yous. This is the third pillar. Good deeds shine brightest in silence. Publicizing them often dims their light. Don't talk about your resentment. Have you ever felt trapped in a web of emotions where each thread is a bitter memory, a grudge that refuses to fade? The timeless wisdom of Stoicism invites us to reflect deeply on the invisible weight of resentment. To these ancient philosophers, harboring resentment was like an anchor that prevented the spirit from sailing freely through the seas of life. But what if we could choose a less trodden path where forgiveness and understanding were our faithful companions? Behind this historical perspective, we find an unwavering focus on virtue and self-control. Ask yourself, have you ever carried a burden on your back for a long time? Have you felt the weariness, exhaustion, and resentment? This burden is an invisible chain that binds us, limiting our freedom and inner peace. It's fascinating to realize that often resentment springs from misunderstanding and can imprison us in a cycle of bitterness. The Stoics encouraged us to seek the origins of others' actions, to understand before we judge. Forgiveness, then, is not just an altruistic gesture, but an act of profound wisdom that unravels the mysteries of the human soul and frees us from the chains of negativity. Because anger and resentment are silent poisons, flames that, when fed, consume our tranquility and well-being. On the other hand, by choosing the path of forgiveness and understanding, we find an oasis of serenity and peace. Thus, guided by Stoic wisdom, we are reminded of a universal truth. Forgiveness is the key to our own freedom. It is a beacon that guides us through emotional storms and offers us refuge in the harbor of serenity. By embracing this lesson, we discover that at times the greatest strength lies in letting go, in freeing ourselves from the chains of the past, and sailing toward a horizon of understanding and peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." He understood that resentment keeps us tied to the offender. We give them rent-free space in our mind. Epictetus taught, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. He can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by him." Seneca added, "Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it." Talking about resentment keeps it alive. When we vent, gossip, or repeatedly narrate our grievances, we re-traumatize ourselves and strengthen the neural pathways of bitterness. The Stoics advised silence about offenses not because they should be ignored, but because they should be processed internally, understood, forgiven, and released. Practical exercise. When resentment arises, write a private letter to the person, never send it. Detail everything: hurt, anger, betrayal. Then write their possible perspective, even if you disagree. End with what you learned and why you release it. Burn or delete the letter. Repeat as needed until the emotional charge fades. This transforms resentment from a public wound into private medicine. This is the fourth pillar. Resentment dies in silence. Speaking it breathes life back into it. Don't talk about your deepest dreams. Imagine for a moment a rare and delicate seed in the palm of your hand. It represents your most intimate dreams, your most fervent aspirations? How would you protect it from harsh winds and storms that could prevent it from sprouting? The Stoics, with their profound wisdom, provide an answer. They saw our goals and dreams as these precious seeds, destined to be planted in the fertile depths of our souls, far from the storms of others' opinions and criticisms. After all, who hasn't felt the flame of a dream extinguish prematurely when exposed to the cold of skepticism or the heat of ridicule? Within Stoic philosophy, self-sufficiency is celebrated as an invaluable gem. True wisdom, true accomplishment, is not a chalice to be displayed but an internal well from which one can always draw. It makes no sense to seek fleeting external approval when we can find richness and purpose in the recesses of our own minds. Perhaps the quietest and yet most eloquent of virtues, the Stoics recognized the subtlety of the line that separates healthy ambition from arrogance. Choosing silence about our grand goals was not an act of shyness but a deliberate choice to walk with humility, avoiding the pride that sometimes blinds. In the end, the Stoic legacy speaks to the heart. There's no need to shout our dreams from mountaintops. Instead, protect them, cultivate them, and watch them flourish in their silence and majestic glory. This safeguard is an invitation to rediscover the strength that resides within us and to recognize that at times the most precious treasures are those we keep just for ourselves. Epictetus warned, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Dreams explained too early invite criticism that can kill momentum." Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Talking about dreams can waste the energy needed to build them. Marcus Aurelius kept his aspirations private, focusing on daily practice rather than public announcement. When we broadcast dreams prematurely, we hand others power over our motivation. Skepticism can plant doubt, envy can create obstacles, even well-meaning advice can derail our unique path. Silence protects the dream's purity. It allows you to nurture it without external distortion. When not if it manifests, the victory is entirely yours, no diluted by others' input. Practical exercise. Create a private dream vault, a journal or encrypted note where you write your biggest vision in detail. Update it weekly, but speak of it to no one until it is either achieved or radically changed through your own reflection. Notice how much more alive it feels when it's yours alone. This is the fifth pillar. Dreams grow strongest in secrecy. Exposure often weakens them. Don't talk about your next steps. Imagine a chess master moving their pieces silently as their opponents attempt to decipher their next moves. This is the path of the Stoics. They understood that by revealing every move in their lives, they could be subject to the whimsical winds of external judgment, often laden with criticism, envy, and even malicious intentions. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies the virtue of self-sufficiency. Why depend on the fleeting applause of an audience when true strength resides in the inner theater of the mind? By keeping their life strategies to themselves, the Stoics were not simply concealing their plans, but strengthening their inner core of confidence, independent of the tides of opinion that flow around them. This leads us to humility, a subtle yet profound quality that the Stoics fervently upheld. Revealing grandiose strategies could easily be interpreted as a cry of arrogance, a triumphant announcement of superiority. By choosing discretion, they struck a balance between ambition and humility, ensuring that their steps were steady but not presumptuous. Thus, the Stoic tradition presents us with a rich perspective on the value of secrecy. It teaches us that protecting our goals is more than just a strategy. It is a way to fortify our being, to honor our self-sufficiency, and to walk with humility in a world where external validation seems to be the currency. The Stoics invite us to look inward, find our internal compass, and tread our own path with confidence and wisdom. Seneca advised, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. The present is the only time we can live." Announcing next steps turns present action into future performance. Epictetus, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." The doing is private, the announcement is optional and often dangerous. In modern terms, think of entrepreneurs who announce every idea on social media. Most never materialize because the announcement satisfied the ego, draining the energy needed for execution. The Stoics knew, speak less, do more. Practical exercise. When you have a new plan, career move, creative project, personal transformation, keep it private for the first 30-90 days. Use that time to build momentum in silence. Notice how much faster progress happens without the pressure of public expectation. This is the sixth pillar. Next steps are most powerful when kept close. Public announcement often dissipates their force. Don't talk about your doubts and uncertainties. Picture yourself in a vast forest where each tree represents a doubt, and each shadow an uncertainty. Instead of shouting your hesitation to the world, you choose silent introspection, seeking answers within your own soul. This is the path of the Stoics. At the core of Stoic philosophy is the recognition that confidence isn't a flag to be waved in front of the world, but an inner beacon that guides our way. Constantly revealing our doubts to the world is like exposing a lighthouse to a torrential rain. It can silently extinguish the light. We find the solidity needed not to be swayed by the opinions and judgments of others. Modesty, in turn, is not just an external virtue but a shield that protects the spirit. Thus, bearing all uncertainties can strip the soul of its dignity. Therefore, always choose when and with whom you will share your vulnerabilities. While many seek answers in the clamor of the external world, understand the importance of silence and introspection. Believe that often the answers to the deepest questions resonate in the quiet chambers of the heart and mind. By harboring certain uncertainties, you can cultivate deeper reflection and a more intimate connection with your essence. In summary, Stoic wisdom whispers precious advice amidst the storms of doubt. There's no need to shout your uncertainties to the world. By embracing silence, modesty, and introspection, we find a safe route through the forest of uncertainties, guided by the internal beacon of our confidence and understanding. This is the power of silent self-reflection and the internal confidence that the Stoics bequeath to us. Marcus Aurelius constantly wrestled with doubt in his meditations, yet he kept most of it private, using it as fuel for self-examination rather than public confession. Titus, it's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters. Talking about doubt before resolving it often magnifies it through others' reactions. Silence about uncertainty preserves mental clarity. When we don't speak, we don't invite well-meaning but often misguided advice, nor do we risk being defined by our doubts in others' eyes. Practical exercise. When doubt arises, am I on the right path? Can I really do this? Write it privately. Ask, what evidence supports this doubt? What evidence contradicts it? What action can I take today regardless? Return to it daily until clarity emerges, without ever speaking it aloud. You will notice decisions become cleaner and confidence grows from within. This is the seventh pillar. Doubts are for private wrestling. Speaking them often strengthens them. Don't talk about others. Criticizing others is like throwing stones into a calm lake, creating ripples that disturb the serenity of the water. The Stoics understood that engaging in judgments and criticisms was a diversion from their own internal mirror, wasting precious energy on matters beyond their sphere of influence. Instead of pointing fingers, the Stoic chose to extend a hand. They guided themselves with empathy and compassion, recognizing that every person is a universe filled with internal and external battles, joys and sorrows, victories and defeats. Criticizing another person would be a failure to acknowledge the richness and complexity of the human condition. They also realized that criticism, instead of building bridges, often erected walls. In their quest for tranquility and harmony, they understood that harsh words and hasty judgments did not lead to peace, but to discord and separation. Stoic wisdom sends us a clear and timeless message. We must be guardians of our words and thoughts. Instead of focusing on the faults of others, let's turn our gaze to our own reflection, seeking growth and virtue. In a world where criticism is easily launched, Stoic teachings inspire us to embrace understanding, acceptance, and kindness, casting stones of empathy into the lake of humanity and appreciating the waves of positivity they generate. Epictetus, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. He meant don't criticize others' lack of philosophy. Live yours so powerfully they feel the contrast. Marcus Aurelius, you always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. These things are not asking to be judged by you. Leave them alone. Speaking ill of others poisons your own mind. It trains you to see faults first, to judge rather than understand, to divide rather than connect. Practical exercise. When the urge to criticize arises, pause and ask, what insecurity in me is triggered by this person's behavior? Then silently wish them well. Watch how your inner peace increases and your relationships deepen. This is the 8th pillar. Criticizing others diminishes you. Silence about others' flaws preserves your tranquility. Don't talk about your moments of solitude while many seek to fill every second with stimuli and interactions. The Stoics found strength in quietude. They didn't view solitude as a void to be filled, but as a sanctuary where the mind could dance freely, free from the shackles of others' opinions. Contrary to what many may think, the Stoics did not shun solitude. They embraced it. In their moments of retreat, they didn't feel isolated but connected to a rich inner universe filled with insights. It was in this stillness that the deepest thoughts arose, unpolluted by external noise. In the current landscape, where validation through social media has become a priority for many, Stoic philosophy invites us to reevaluate these priorities. By moving away from the constant need for exposure, we find a space where our soul can breathe. And it is in this deep silence that we discover the melody of our essence, a sound that doesn't need to be shared, but only felt in its purity and truth. Marcus Aurelius frequently retreated into solitude, even amid ruling an empire. He wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Epictetus. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Solitude allows that freedom. No need to perform intelligence, depth, or busyness. Talking about solitude often turns it into performance. I'm so deep, I enjoy being alone. True solitude needs no announcement. It is its own reward. Practical exercise. Schedule 30-60 minutes of deliberate solitude daily. No phone, no music, no input. Simply sit, walk, or be. Notice thoughts without judging. Over time, this becomes your most nourishing habit and you won't feel the need to tell anyone about it. This is the 9th pillar. Solitude is sacred. Speaking of it often ruins its power. Don't talk about unlearned lessons. Few things are as universal as mistakes. We all fail. We all make errors. But it's in the response to these failures that a person's character is truly revealed. For the Stoics, these moments were not ones of despair, but of revelation and growth. Many of us in contemporary society feel pressure to project an image of perfection. We showcase our triumphs and hide our defeats, but the Stoics show us a different approach. Embrace mistakes not as a sign of weakness, but as a map for self-development. By choosing to keep your unlearned lessons private, the Stoics were not trying to evade their responsibilities or hide from their failures. Instead, they sheltered themselves for a deep and intimate process of reflection. Each failure was seen not as an end, but as a beginning, a new chapter in the ongoing quest for virtue and wisdom. Just as an artist turns a mistake into a crucial part of their work, the Stoics turned their failures into foundations for growth. In a world where oversharing and overexposure are common, the Stoic stance reminds us of the value of introspection and the dignity of silence. Seneca, as long as you live, keep learning how to live. He kept his own errors close, reflecting on them privately to extract wisdom. Epictetus, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Announcing unlearned mistakes often turns reflection into performance or self-pity. Silence allows pure processing. No audience means no need to edit the truth for sympathy or admiration. Practical exercise. Maintain a private lessons ledger. After any setback, write, what happened? What did I contribute? What can I control next time? Review weekly in solitude. Speak of the lesson only when it is fully learned and integrated. This is the 10th pillar. Unlearned lessons are private alchemy. Speaking too early turns gold into noise. Don't talk about your deepest plans. The understanding that there's no need to shout your plans to the world is a powerful weapon. The Stoics understood something that many of us forget. Discretion is not a weakness but a strength. For them, every plan or goal was like a delicate seed that needed to be nurtured with care and protection. By avoiding the premature exposure of these plans, they ensured that they had the ideal environment to grow and flourish, away from the storms of doubt, envy, or public scrutiny. Today, in an age of overexposure where every move is documented and shared, Stoic philosophy invites us to rethink how we handle our ambitions. It shows us that true power often resides in what is kept secret, not because we are evasive, but because we recognize the importance of nurturing our dreams in a safe environment. Silence, for the Stoics, was not empty. It was full of potential, possibilities, and hope. It was the fertile ground where their dreams could grow undisturbed. So amidst the chaos of our modern era, perhaps we can find inspiration in these ancient sages. By protecting our deepest plans, we allow them to develop at their own pace, free from interference. And by doing so, we may discover that true magic lies not in what we declare to the world, but in what we quietly achieve in the recesses of our determination. Epictetus: first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. The saying is private, the doing is sacred. Public announcement invites interference, advice, doubt, sabotage, or theft of ideas. Practical exercise: adopt the 30-day silence rule for any major plan. Commit to zero external discussion for at least 30 days while you take daily action. Watch how momentum builds when the plan remains yours alone. This is the 11th pillar. Deepest plans are most potent in silence. Exposure invites dilution or destruction. Don't talk about fear of failure in a world where the fear of failure often holds us back. It's time to confront our doubts and transform them into stepping stones to success. Failure is part of the journey, they say, and there's no shame in it. It's easy to feel like fear is an unconquerable obstacle, but the truth is it's simply a natural part of the journey. It's the barrier that separates you from the experiences you desire in life, in your career, relationships, and personal growth. Whether it's the fear of public speaking, flying, talking to your boss, or expressing your feelings, these fears limit your potential. They hold you back from living life to the fullest. So why does fear get in the way of our aspirations? Often it stems from a lack of self-belief. When we doubt ourselves, it's easier to avoid taking risks and putting ourselves out there. But if we want to truly live our lives to the fullest, we must learn to break free from these limitations. Stoicism begins with a fundamental acknowledgement. Adversity is an intrinsic part of the human experience. No one, no matter how fortunate, is exempt from the trials and tribulations that life presents. The Stoics, from Epictetus to Marcus Aurelius, understood that fear and challenges are not aberrations but certainties. By recognizing this inevitability, Stoicism teaches us not to be surprised or defeated by adversity, but to expect it and to embrace it as an opportunity for growth. This mindset shift is the foundation of emotional resilience. Embracing fear as an opportunity for growth. Fear often manifests in anticipation of adversity. In the Stoic perspective, fearing challenges is a natural response. However, Stoicism encourages us to turn that fear into a source of strength. Instead of avoiding or dreading challenges, we should approach them with the understanding that they provide opportunities for personal development and resilience. The Stoic principle of amor fati, or the love of fate, suggests that we should not merely accept our challenges but wholeheartedly embrace them. Through this, we transform fear from a paralyzing force into a catalyst for personal growth. Adversity becomes our teacher, and we emerge from it stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. Redefining success and failure. Stoicism is a philosophy that emphasizes inner peace and resilience in the face of life's challenges, and one key aspect of this philosophy is the ability to redefine both success and failure. In modern times, success is often equated with material wealth or external achievements. However, Stoicism suggests that true success lies in doing one's best and striving towards virtue. The Stoics believe that we should focus on our own actions and behaviors rather than external outcomes. This means that no matter what happens in life, We can always take pride in the fact that we gave it our all. Instead of fixating on winning or losing, we should focus on putting forth our best effort. This approach to success can be liberating because it removes the pressure to constantly achieve more and more. It also promotes humility as we recognize that many factors outside of our control can influence the outcome of events. By focusing on our own efforts, we avoid placing too much importance on external validation. Similarly, Stoicism teaches us to view failure as an opportunity for growth rather than as a reflection of our worth. When things don't go as planned, it can be easy to become discouraged and feel like a failure. But Stoicism encourages us to look at failures as chances to learn and improve ourselves. By reframing failure in this way, we can turn it into a positive experience. Rather than dwelling on what went wrong, we can examine why it went wrong and how we can do better next time. This perspective helps us grow and become stronger individuals. Believing in yourself. The timeless wisdom of Stoicism provides a remarkable foundation for conquering fear and living a life of purpose, resilience, and inner strength. Believing in oneself is not merely an empty platitude, but a potent force that can move mountains and dispel the clouds of doubt and fear. Stoicism posits that at the root of most of our anxieties lies a lack of self-belief. We often underestimate our capabilities, magnify our weaknesses, and doubt our potential. In Stoic terms, true self-belief is a manifestation of wisdom, a deep understanding of our own strengths and weaknesses. It's the knowledge that we have within us the capacity to face whatever challenges life may throw our way. By believing in ourselves, we harness the power to transform fear into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. When it comes to self-belief, the Stoics advocate for the importance of examining the evidence. Instead of blindly accepting our self-critiques, we must scrutinize our abilities and flaws with objectivity. Believing in ourselves is not an act of hubris but a rational acknowledgement of our potential. It means recognizing that we are capable of growth, learning, and resilience. By harnessing the power of reason, we can break the shackles of self-doubt and move forward with confidence. Fear often arises from uncertainty and self-doubt. The Stoic path to overcoming fear is paved with self-belief. By recognizing our strengths, acknowledging our capacity for growth, and harnessing rationality, we can confidently face the unknown. Stoicism doesn't promise a life free of fear, but it equips us to confront it head-on. It transforms fear from a paralyzing adversary into a motivating force for growth and self-improvement. In believing in ourselves, we cultivate the resilience to weather life's storms and come out stronger on the other side. Resilience in the face of adversity. By redefining success and failure, Stoicism equips us with profound resilience in the face of adversity. Stoics acknowledge that life is filled with uncertainties and things often don't go as planned, but they encourage us to greet these uncertainties with open arms, seeing them not as obstacles but as opportunities to fortify our character. In this Stoic perspective, the path to success is not a linear ascent but a journey riddled with twists and turns, ups and downs. It's a path where every step, regardless of the outcome, is a success in itself, an opportunity to become better, to refine our virtues, and to align ourselves more closely with our true values. Stoicism underscores the importance of building emotional resilience. This means developing the ability to cope with adversity, setback, and discomfort. By willingly pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone, we strengthen our emotional muscles and prepare ourselves for life's inevitable challenges. Through Stoicism, we embrace a mindset of growth, understanding that we can learn, adapt, and conquer fear. In doing so, we redefine our limitations and expand our comfort zone to include what was once unthinkable. Pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Our comfort zone is like a cozy cocoon that provides a sense of security and predictability. While it might be comforting, it can also be limiting. Fear often lurks just outside its boundaries, preventing us from venturing into the unknown, pursuing our dreams, or realizing our full potential. Stoicism acknowledges this innate human tendency to cling to the familiar and encourages us to confront the root of our fear. By dissecting our anxieties and acknowledging their existence, we begin the process of pushing beyond our comfort zone. The first step is to identify your fears and anxieties. It's essential to understand what makes you uncomfortable so that you can work on overcoming those obstacles. Once you acknowledge your fears, you can start to challenge them head-on rather than avoiding them. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of reason in overcoming fears. By analyzing the situation objectively, you can determine if the fear is grounded in reality or simply a product of your imagination. Oftentimes, our fears are exaggerated and irrational, and by approaching them with logic and reason, we can reduce their power over us. Taking calculated risks. Stoicism doesn't advocate reckless abandon in pursuit of growth. Instead, it encourages calculated risks. This means carefully weighing the potential rewards and consequences of a decision. By approaching challenges and changes in a rational and thoughtful manner, we minimize the risks and maximize the chances for growth. The Stoics believe that confronting fear and discomfort intentionally is a profound source of strength. It's through these encounters that we grow, evolve, and discover our true potential. By pushing our boundaries, we realize that we can handle more than we initially thought. The path is as important as the destination. In our modern world, where success is often measured by the achievement of specific goals and milestones, the ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers a refreshing perspective. The path is as important as the destination. Instead of viewing success solely as the attainment of wealth, fame, or status, Stoicism encourages us to redefine success as the pursuit of wisdom, virtue, and inner tranquility. In this framework, success is not merely reaching a particular goal, but embodying a way of life, a journey guided by noble principles. Stoicism reframes what is often perceived as failure in a conventional sense. For the Stoics, there is no true failure as long as we've learned and grown from our experiences. The journey is full of moments that can be seen as opportunities for growth, not as defeats. Embracing the journey is about recognizing that the path we tread each day is where life unfolds. The decisions we make, the actions we take, and the virtues we cultivate are what ultimately define us. The journey, not the destination, is where we face challenges, overcome obstacles, and grow. Maintaining inner equanimity. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot control external events, we can govern our inner responses. The Stoic practice of maintaining inner equanimity in the face of adversity, no matter how fearful or challenging it may be, is a cornerstone of emotional resilience. This resilience lies in recognizing that we can control our reactions and therefore our emotional state. The Stoics remind us that the only power adversity has over us is the power we give it. By understanding this, we become better equipped to confront fear and challenges with grace, calm, and a steadfast resolve. Remember that Stoicism is not about eliminating fear entirely, but about managing it effectively and making it a tool for personal growth. By practicing these principles, you can develop the mental fortitude to confront your fears with courage and wisdom. In this dizzying modern world, finding peace and purpose can be a challenge. But don't worry, Stoicism has the answer. Explore the wisdom and practicality of this ancient philosophy and learn how to create a daily routine that will lead you to unparalleled balance, growth, and serenity. Stoicism is your ally on the journey to a more virtuous life. With figures like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius as guides, this philosophy has withstood the test of time and remains relevant to help you become stronger, calmer, and fully satisfied. Ready to transform your life? Join us on this self-discovery adventure as we explore how to create a morning and evening routine that will propel you towards greatness. Wake up every morning with determination and excitement. Reflect on the 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. They are the moral compass for making wise and courageous decisions, always seeking balance in all aspects of life. Gratitude will be your powerful ally. Embrace gratitude for all the blessings, experiences, and people that enrich your existence. You will discover how appreciation fills you with joy and frees you from any trace of dissatisfaction. Anticipate the day with a powerful perspective. Practice negative visualization by facing potential challenges and wisely preparing to adapt and grow in the face of adversity. Through writing, you will give life to Stoic magic. Keep a journal where you record your intentions, emotions, and observations. This will be a beacon of wisdom and guidance, reminding you of your path even in the most challenging moments. Be prepared to face the world with Stoic elegance. Learn to maintain focus and productivity in a world full of distractions. Practice justice and compassion in every interaction, opening your heart to a deeper understanding of the human experience. Face stress with composure and perspective, remembering that you can only control what is in your hands. Wisdom will guide you. Night falls and it's time to recharge. Reflect on the day's events, learn from your experiences, and grow with every step. Accept imperfection and commit to constant improvement. Set your intentions for tomorrow and trace a powerful and courageous path. A future full of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance awaits you. Be the architect of your life, using Stoicism as your tool. Personalize your journey to success, finding the formula that fits your dreams, values, and daily commitments. Stoicism is versatile. Make it yours. Maintain your passion for your Stoic practice and establish a constant and consistent routine. Stoicism offers you a path of transformation and growth. Discover the magic of bringing Stoicism into every aspect of your life. Infuse wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance into your relationships, work, and personal projects. In a world of change and uncertainty, Stoicism will be your guide to balance, resilience, and inner peace. Embrace life with purpose and clarity on the Stoic path. Move forward with strength and conviction. Wisdom is almost always by your side, and each day will be an opportunity to grow and learn. May clarity and serenity always accompany you in your quest for a full and meaningful life. Practice gratitude and wake up with a heart full of joy and abundance. With the 4 cardinal virtues lighting your way, direct your attention to all the blessings that enrich your life. You will discover that appreciation and gratitude will dissolve any shadow of dissatisfaction or persistent desire. In this state of sincere gratitude, you will receive the day with a feeling of fullness and happiness. Focus on what really matters. Cultivate the habit of being grateful for all good and thank constantly for all things that have contributed to your progress. You must include them all in your gratitude. Prepare yourself for the day with negative visualization. Imagine the possible challenges and setbacks that may arise, but don't worry. You are prepared to face them with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. By contemplating these scenarios and their potential outcomes, you will develop a silent resilience, ready to adapt and grow in the face of adversity. This exercise will allow you to navigate the uncertainties of the day calmly, without being shaken by the fluctuations of fate. Now it's time to put your wisdom and reflections on paper. Keeping a journal is a powerful tool used by Stoics like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. Dedicate a few moments every morning to write about your intentions, emotions, and observations. By doing so, you'll create a beacon of wisdom and warmth to guide you through the challenges of modern life. As we progress through the ever-changing landscape of daily life, we may face moments that test our determination. But don't worry, Stoicism has the answer. Through a series of Stoic strategies, you will maintain balance, cultivate resilience, and embark on the journey of life with grace and strength. When stress arises, remember that wisdom is within you. Seek refuge in reason and reflection. Focus your energy on what you can control and let go of what is not in your hands. In this way, you will respond to stress with composure, resilience, and wisdom. The main task in life is simply this: to identify and separate things so that you can clearly say what is external and uncontrollable and what is under your choices and control. Where to seek good and evil. Not outside the uncontrollable, but within yourself and your choices. Remember Epictetus's words on your path towards gratitude and resilience. Stoicism will guide you with its timeless wisdom. Wake up with the certainty that each day is an opportunity to grow, learn, and become stronger. Embrace life with purpose and clarity on the Stoic path to a full and meaningful life. Transform distractions into opportunities for productivity. In the whirlwind of modern life, distractions constantly lurk. But as a brave Stoic, you cultivate the virtue of temperance, practicing self-discipline and moderation. When these distractions appear, accept them but gently direct your attention to the task at hand. This will nurture inner calm and allow you to harness the power of your mind to achieve your goals. When interacting with others, manifest the Stoic virtues of justice, wisdom, and compassion. Each encounter offers the opportunity to leave a positive and lasting impression. Be aware of the impact of your words and actions on those around you. Through each interaction, learn, grow, and deepen your understanding of the human experience. Today I will face interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. All this is due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or bad. But for my part, I have long recognized the nature of good and its nobility, the nature of evil and its pettiness, and also the nature of the offender himself, who is my brother, not in a physical sense but as a fellow human endowed with reason and a portion of the divine. Therefore none of this can harm me, for no one can involve me in what is degrading. I also cannot be angry with my brother or be upset with him, because he and I were born to work together, just as the two hands, feet, or eyelids of a man, or the upper and lower rows of his teeth. Obstructing each other is contrary to the law of nature, and what irritation or aversion is a form of obstruction. Marcus Aurelius teaches us to embrace adversity and flourish in resilience. On the journey of life, we encounter unexpected challenges. In times of adversity that can either strengthen us or break us, as brave Stoics, see these challenges as opportunities for growth. Cultivate the courage and wisdom to face adversity with grace, practicing negative visualization. Trust the inner resilience you've nurtured along your Stoic path. In this way, you will turn trials into valuable lessons, steps on your path towards growth and personal fulfillment. Prepare for an evening full of wisdom and reflection. With the sun setting and the day coming to an end, turn your gaze inwards. Reflect on the day's events, identifying challenges, decisions, and lessons. As Seneca said, I will constantly keep watch over myself, and even more useful, I will put each day under review, because this is what makes us evil. None of us look back on our own lives. We only reflect on what we are about to do, but our plans for the future descend from the past. Forgive yourself and move towards personal improvement. Practice self-forgiveness with compassion and understanding. Recognize that personal growth is a continuous process. Learn from your mistakes and commit to improvement. Nurture inner peace and self-acceptance while continuing to evolve on your Stoic path. Set intentions for the new dawn. With the wisdom gained throughout the day, set intentions for the following day. Incorporate Stoic virtues into your actions, decisions, and interactions. In this way, you will create a model for a harmonious and purposeful life guided by the principles of Stoicism. Immerse yourself in an evening of relaxation. Before giving in to sleep, practice relaxation techniques such as deep breathing or meditative visualization. Calm your mind and body, releasing the day's tensions. Thus, you'll dive into restful sleep, ready to welcome each new day as an opportunity to grow and learn. The world seems to be able to give us the best and the worst. Often we find joy, satisfaction, happiness, love, and health. However, on many other occasions we encounter suffering, pain, death, illness, and misfortune. Life, fair or unfair, seems to be a river whose course we cannot control, and often, whether we want to or not, we can only go along with it. Epictetus said, "Don't fight the strings of fate, embrace them, for it is only in accepting them that you find inner peace." Within Stoicism, this acceptance, or embrace, of one's own fate is known as amor fati. This implies loving one's life with all its joys and misfortunes as the most perfect gift one could have received. This seems very easy to say but impossible to do. How could we love suffering? How can we demonstrate gratitude, for example, for the death of loved ones? How can we find beauty in pain? Anyone could think that the Stoics were out of their minds in developing a doctrine like amor fati, but nothing is further from reality. They knew perfectly well what they were saying. Why? Because being a Stoic, like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, or Epictetus, loving one's own existence to the limit with its bright and dark moments, was the best opportunity to achieve virtue and find true happiness. Marcus Aurelius said, "Love your fate, no matter what form it takes, because only through the acceptance of each moment can you find true serenity." And Seneca added, "Amor fati is to love the totality of your existence, including your mistakes and failures, as they are opportunities to learn and grow in wisdom." The doctrine of amor fati is undoubtedly one of the most difficult to practice within Stoicism. However, difficult does not mean impossible. It simply means that it requires a lot of effort. Don't forget that the things that are hard to attain are the most valuable. A great part of our happiness is at stake in amor fati. Therefore, it's worth trying with all the strength we can muster. In this exploration, I'll try to help you practice the doctrine of amor fati so that you can be more virtuous and happy. For this, I'll divide the teaching into clear parts. First, I'll explain what fate means for a Stoic and why it should be loved. Then, I'll give you practical advice to put this doctrine into practice and persevere in it gradually. Before we start, remember, the ancient Stoics believed that chance did not exist. They believed that everything in the world worked thanks to necessary and rational laws made by the gods themselves. Therefore, they understood the universe as a whole whose parts were in perfect order and harmony. Thus, everything that happened in the world had an explanation, a purpose, and a reason. That is, everything followed a rational law. For the Stoics, this rational law that governs the universe is also within the human being, within their consciousness. This allows the person to know what is rational and virtuous. Therefore, whoever follows what conscience says becomes rational and virtuous, while those who deviate from the law of the universe present in the mind of man become irrational and move away from virtue. The rational plan that the cosmos established for each of us is what we can call fate. Our individual destiny is part of this harmonious whole that is the universe. Therefore, everything that happens to us, whether good or bad, even if we cannot understand or control it, is necessary and has an explanation. Everything follows a logic and has a meaning, even if we can't always see it. That's why even in the worst moments we need to strive to see beyond ourselves. Accepting the established order for us is living with serenity. That is what it means to love one's destiny. However, it is very important to distinguish between acceptance and resignation. Resignation is negative. It implies refusing to act in the face of what displeases us. On the other hand, acceptance is positive. It recognizes what is there and guides action according to the things that happen to us. As you can sense, a Stoic avoids resignation and seeks acceptance. And in acceptance, the Stoic dichotomy of control is fundamental. Generally, the events of the universe, such as health or sickness, disasters or miracles, life or death, are not under our control. We cannot change them, and that's why our hearts should not be affected by them. What is under our control, however, is our judgment about what happens, our will. As Epictetus said very well, the will can control itself, but nothing else can control it. We have the great power to choose what we do and how we react to the circumstances and desires imposed on us. We can choose between fleeing from our own destiny or accepting it and facing it as the path that has been assigned to us and in which we must seek our happiness. This is what consists of the Stoic freedom, to choose to accept our destiny and align our will with virtue and good, or on the other hand to choose to reject our reality and seek vice and evil. The essence of good and evil lies in the attitude of the will, says Epictetus. And Marcus Aurelius would add, as for things that are truly good, such as virtue and justice, they are within man's power, provided by the gods so he can avoid them if he so desires. In any situation, whatever it may be, it is in our hands to react by seeking good or seeking evil. For example, if we are ill, we can fight to try to recover and live the best way possible even when sick, or we can give up, become irrational, not take care of ourselves, and become angry with everything and everyone. If we seek virtue and good and align ourselves with our conscience, that is, if everything that happens in our life, whether good or bad, enriches our existence and makes us better, we will become masters of the 4 Stoic virtues. Good moments will bring us joy, although we must remember that they will not be eternal. Bad moments will make us strong and test us, and although they are very difficult, they will make us better people. In the end, remember that these bad moments will also pass, and they are as necessary, if not more, than the moments of well-being. Therefore, to practice amor fati, we also need the virtue of courage. We need to be brave to face all the storms that surprise and assail us. Thus, anyone who practices amor fati will also control the virtues of justice and wisdom. They will learn to give each moment what it deserves, and above all, they will know the rational law that governs the world, and that makes our individual destiny the best gift we have to move towards a full life and true happiness. As you've seen, in the doctrine of amor fati, it sets in motion the 4 Stoic virtues and invites us to give the best of ourselves. It implies loving our own destiny and understanding that our own life is the best and most beautiful opportunity we have to strive for virtue and for a full existence. Don't you think a life without struggle and without the pursuit of happiness wouldn't be worthwhile? Moreover, isn't it true that there is no happiness without sacrifice and no surrender without acceptance of what has been given to us? We must love our own destiny and align our will to fulfill what reason tells us, as this is the Stoic path toward true and full happiness. I would like to share with you several historical quotes about amor fati. Seneca says, "Fate leads those who accept it and drags those who refuse to acknowledge it." He also points out, "There is no one less fortunate than the man who is forgotten by adversity, because he does not have the opportunity to be tested." In turn, Marcus Aurelius writes, "It is characteristic of man to love and seek what fate has attributed and prepared for him." And Epictetus could add, "Do not seek that events happen as you wish. If you don't wish for events as they happen, your life will go well." What do you think of the Stoic doctrine of amor fati? Are you in agreement with your destiny? Is there any circumstance in your life that you are unable to accept? Is there one that you have embraced exactly as it happened? I await your response in the comments. The man who recognizes the chains to which he is bound will be free, for consciously he can break them. In a fast-paced and constantly changing world in which we live, often we let ourselves be carried away by not only counterproductive but also destructive habits. The Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing on what we can control, freeing ourselves from the chains of unbridled emotions and erratic impulses and lust. Today I share with you 6 destructive habits that are very common in the modern world. These habits can obstruct our mental peace, our personal growth, and our ability to live a virtuous life. Before going through these points, I ask that you try to be self-critical, looking at yourself in the third person. This will allow you to analyze which of these 6 bad habits are affecting you and then take full responsibility to confront them. First habit, postponing commitments. This is an insidious habit that we all tend to adopt, although it may seem harmless. However, it has serious consequences. Procrastination means putting off something that could or should be done now. This results in a loss of time and energy as we constantly think about what needs to be done but we don't act. Stoicism teaches us that postponing can lead to not fulfilling our personal and professional obligations, as well as harming the quality of our work, affecting our reputation and the trust others have in us. Valuing integrity and fulfilling duties, the Stoics viewed postponement as one of the greatest lacks of respect that someone can commit towards themselves. Procrastination results in increased stress and anxiety as tasks pile up and deadlines approach. This constant tension affects our mental and physical health, distancing us from mental clarity and a peaceful mind. Imagine that you have an important project with a deadline. Instead of dividing the work into manageable parts and consistently working on it, you delay and leave it until the last minute. The pressure mounts and now you are stressed and overwhelmed, struggling to meet the deadline. Planning the work and fulfilling duties is a favor you do for yourself. It's more viable to split the work across several days rather than piling everything in one go. The habit of postponing commitments is destructive, going against the principles of Stoicism, leading to loss of time, unfulfilled obligations, and increased stress and anxiety. We can combat it by practicing planning, self-discipline, and focusing on our responsibilities and values. To avoid this, I recommend Never promise something under strong emotion, especially when you're euphoric. This is because emotions of the moment are often the basis of decisions instead of clear thought. Before committing, carefully evaluate in moments of solitude. Do not promise anything when you are happy and avoid impulsive decisions. The second habit, lying. Lying is a widely adopted habit in modern society, but it's deeply destructive. The liar is a victim of their own fears and sooner or later will be caught by them. Lying harms truth and integrity. The Stoics valued honesty and truth as pillars of a virtuous life. When we lie, we distance ourselves from these ideals and compromise our own character. Furthermore, lying diminishes the quality of relationships and results in loss of trust. Lies can erode the trust others have in us. When a lie is discovered, it's hard to regain the lost trust. Mutual trust and respect were fundamental for the Stoics in healthy and enriching relationships. Lying creates an alternate reality that can entangle us in a labyrinth of deception, leading to an increasingly complex and exhausting cycle of lies. This creates unnecessary stress and anxiety. For example, suppose you see sensationalist news on social media and immediately share it without verifying the information or considering the source. Later you discover the news was false. You feel deceived and embarrassed. Additionally, by sharing the news, you spread misinformation and could have negatively influenced the opinions and actions of others. Believing everything we hear is a destructive habit that inhibits critical thinking and makes us susceptible to manipulation and undue influence. It's necessary to fact-check information, learn to contrast sources, and above all develop our own judgments. A person without their own criteria and without the authority to apply their own conclusions is manipulated by the modern world and used by other people. The fourth habit, lack of communication skills. Effective communication is an essential skill in our personal and professional relationships. It seems that we have lost the value of good language and communication skills. This is reflected in today's poor conversations, where people are no longer interested in each other and don't truly listen to what the other person is saying. Lack of communication skills can lead to misunderstandings and conflicts. The Stoics recognize the importance of harmony and cooperation in our relationships. Poor communication can jeopardize these ideals. If we don't know how to communicate effectively, we will have difficulty expressing our needs and feelings. This can lead to dissatisfaction, frustration, and resentment. The Stoics valued authenticity and self-expression, which are crucial for quality conversations. We are naturally inclined to associate and communicate effectively. Conversations should be exchanges of value between participants. Talking to another person should be enriching and not futile. Not knowing how to communicate is a destructive habit that can lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, and difficulties in expressing our needs and feelings. I recommend expanding your communication skills and your vocabulary by reading or consuming valuable content. The practice of active listening was something that benefited me greatly. Instead of thinking about how you'll respond, focus on the conversation and pay attention to what the person is saying. This will make the dialogue flow and make the other person feel valued while speaking to you. With continuous practice, your communication will reach excellence. The fifth habit, constant comparison with others. I know you're highly competitive, even if it's not intentional. You want to do better than others. But this is a recurring habit that can undermine self-esteem and satisfaction with life. Constant comparison can lead to dissatisfaction and unhappiness, as we always find someone who seems to have more success, wealth, or talent. The Stoics teach us to focus on our own development and appreciate what we have instead of constantly comparing ourselves to others. Constantly comparing ourselves to others can make us lose our identity and authenticity, because we may try to change who we are to fit into standards or expectations. Remember that this is not useful in the long run because you may pretend, but you will end up being who you are. The Stoics encourage us to be true to ourselves and to live according to our own values and principles. Imagine that you always compare yourself to your colleagues at work, feeling that you're never good enough and always need to strive harder to match or surpass them. This constant pressure can lead to burnout, dissatisfaction, and unhappiness, distancing you from your true self. Constant comparison with others is a destructive habit that separates you from your identity and authenticity. This changes when you realize it's not worth always keeping an eye on others because you already have what you need at home. If you don't find what you're looking for at home, you can always seek elsewhere. Understand that comparison is futile because you'll never have everything. You'll be much happier when your primary goal is to improve in comparison to who you were yesterday and compete with yourself. The sixth habit, seeking external blame in our lives. In modern society, it's common to see people looking for external reasons for what happens in their lives instead of taking personal responsibility. This approach removes control and autonomy because by blaming others for our circumstances, we relinquish control over our lives. The Stoics emphasize the importance of recognizing what is within our control and what isn't. Blaming others distances us from this understanding. This habit can lead to a victim mentality and promote emotional dependence, making us highly reliant on others for our stability. When we seek external blame for our lives, we miss the opportunity to learn from our mistakes and grow as individuals. This habit deprives us of personal responsibility. The Stoics remind us to understand and accept what's under our control and take responsibility for it, avoiding the trap of blaming others for our circumstances. As valuable individuals, we are called to be aware of these behaviors and work to overcome them, striving to live a life of virtue, wisdom, and inner tranquility. I invite you to reflect on these habits in your own life and be truly self-critical. Remember that only the individual who recognizes the ties to which they are bound can free themselves from them. From here, it's you who builds your own path. Moral evolution doesn't consist of completely erasing old rules but critically examining them to decide which should remain, which should go, and which new principles should be included. Part of my ethical code, as well as yours, I recognize forgiveness and offer it. I treat others as I would like to be treated. I don't covet others' possessions and deeply appreciate the good things life offers me. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. In the city of Cyprus in the year 300 BC lived a very wealthy merchant named Zeno. While on a journey from Phoenicia to Piraeus, his ship sank along with all its cargo. Due to this single event, which was completely beyond Zeno's control, this once very rich man suddenly became poor. Imagine if you were Zeno. How would you react if the work of your entire life was lost due to forces of nature? What would be the appropriate reaction? Would you be angry? Would you feel that life had deceived you? For most of us, these would be normal reactions, but not for Zeno, the father of Stoicism. A small change lasts an eternity, and a small change in mindset can produce greater and more impactful changes. Furthermore, the essence of Stoicism is the very definition of acceptance and indifference. After reading the works of Socrates and other great philosophers, Zeno created and taught Stoicism. According to Zeno, while we have little control over what happens to us, we have control over how it affects us. We should use this control with great effect. Rather than lamenting, Zeno focused on maintaining composure in the situation, remaining calm and neutral despite his dilemma. Nowadays, people inadvertently see Stoics as unshakable individuals, people who don't usually experience extreme emotional outbursts such as fits of anger or anxiety. But the original idea of Stoicism was much deeper. More than describing people without emotions, Stoicism was a way of seeing, describing, and understanding the world. It was a way of living that has endured over the centuries. The philosophy of Stoicism can be applied to current situations in the same way it was applied thousands of years ago, and its benefits are equally impactful. Stoicism allows us to process negative emotions and adverse experiences, transforming them into thoughts that provide us with a unique perspective of the world. Perspective is everything, and each person in the world has different experiences and therefore different perspectives of things. Just as the Stoics gathered, discussed, and taught philosophy in public places, Their general philosophy was widely known. They believed that Stoic principles could greatly benefit everyone, from slaves to emperors. Some of the world's most notable Stoics include Epictetus, who was a freed slave, Seneca, a renowned statesman, and Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the most powerful men who ever lived. The early Stoics practiced what they preached, avoiding all forms of segregation and leading the fight against inequality. They even coined the word cosmopolitan, which literally means citizen of the world. At the time of the foundation of Stoicism, women were not permitted to dedicate themselves to philosophy, but the Stoics strongly disagreed with this. Musonius Rufus, Epictetus' teacher, once said, "Not only do men possess a natural desire and inclination toward virtue, but women do too. Women take pleasure in noble and just actions no less than men, and they reject the opposite of these actions." So why do so many people adopt Stoicism as a way of life? In a world full of unexpected events, our emotions tend to obstruct our path. In reality, we aren't sad because bad things happen to us, but because bad and unexpected things happen. Rain is a good thing. It helps water the plants, provides water for livestock, and keeps the temperature cool and moist. But when we're caught in a downpour without an umbrella, it's never a good experience. So why don't we cry when it starts raining? Because although the situation is bad, we've learned to expect it to rain. It's inevitable. We can't control the weather. In the end, the rain passes and the sunshine returns. Stoicism teaches us that in the same way, we should expect all the bad things that happen to happen. One of the Stoic exercises is voluntary discomfort, an exercise intended to increase feelings of gratitude. Sleeping on the floor of your kitchen, taking cold showers when you normally take hot ones, eating only potatoes for a few days, things like that. This exercise helps to understand that no matter how hard things are, you'll survive and potentially thrive if your mindset is correct. By being able to endure these uncomfortable situations, we are indirectly preparing our mindset for future misfortunes. In the current state of the world, where advertising constantly makes us believe that we will only be happy if we have the best, a specific appearance, or a certain amount of money, the message of Stoicism is now more important than ever. We were born into the world without knowing much about anything. We grow up learning things at home, at school, and by observing the world for ourselves. The issue is that these three sources of knowledge often teach us different things. We need to internalize all this knowledge. If we do, we can inadvertently create unrealistic expectations for our lives, eventually leaving us disappointed and dissatisfied. That's not a way to live. We should focus on improving ourselves. We should do things for ourselves and for that reason alone. Attaching any external hope or secondary attachment to the actions we take almost always leads to disappointment. Most of the time we try to fill this void with external things, spending money on a luxurious car, a house. Sometimes we do all these things for their external value and not for their internal value. Stoicism teaches that, on the contrary, we should judge the success of our work based on the amount of effort we put in and not on the outcomes of our external hopes. We should trust the process, living with less means, releasing the social shackles we entangle ourselves in. This is the Stoic path to resolving our problems with happiness. We must practice self-esteem by redirecting our definition of value to things we can control. We can stop obsessing over things we can't control and in general lead a much happier and more satisfying life. Stoicism helps us navigate past and present storms toward calmer and more peaceful waters. After all, Stoic philosophy flourished in different times, but its truths have spanned centuries. Today its lessons resonate deeply, offering guidance and strength to face the challenges of the modern world. Ancient philosophy also teaches us to embrace emotional resilience and acceptance. Through the words of philosophers, we learn to find peace and serenity even in turbulent times. Stoics like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius believed that true happiness lay not in avoiding difficulties, but in cultivating virtue and self-control even in the face of the most adverse circumstances. They emphasize the importance of distinguishing between what is under our control, like our attitudes, choices, and values, and what isn't, external events and the behavior of others. By focusing only on what we can control and accepting what we cannot, we can find lasting inner peace. The pursuit of purpose and meaning is a human constant. By exploring the works of existentialist philosophers, we discover how to forge an authentic path aligned with our deepest values. Stoicism also reminds us of the importance of relationships and community. By studying thinkers like Aristotle, we are guided to build genuine connections and nurture bonds that enrich our journey. While the focus of the Stoics is on developing personal virtue and self-mastery, they do not advocate for isolation or indifference towards others. On the contrary, the Stoics believe that interpersonal relationships and communal life were fundamental aspects of achieving virtue and happiness. Seneca extensively wrote about friendship and the importance of cultivating genuine and sincere relationships. He argued that friendship was one of life's most precious goods, and that we should choose friends who share similar values and goals. Moreover, he emphasized the need to be useful to others and to contribute positively to society. Therefore, both Stoicism and other philosophical systems recognize the importance of human relationships and the construction of a healthy community in the pursuit of a fulfilling and meaningful life. They encourage us to cultivate authentic connections that contribute to our moral and spiritual growth, enriching our personal journey. By incorporating the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, you'll be armed with tools to face any challenge and live with authenticity, purpose, and strength. Join us in this quest for excellence and transcendence. Share and start the journey to truly become unbeatable. I wanted to talk to you about something that unfortunately happens to all of us. In the morning when we wake up, most of us don't feel like going to work or school. We spend our days wishing for the time to leave work, to arrive home and relax until the next day, or we're constantly thinking about the weekend and the anxiety we have for it to come. Hating Mondays is common as we know we'll face a tough week of work and responsibilities. This unpleasant feeling leads many people to spend their days completely unmotivated and unwilling to do anything. Unfortunately, this behavior can result in depression or great unhappiness for those who suffer from it. In Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius wrote the following: "When you find it difficult to get out of bed at dawn, remember this: I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain about if I'm going to do what I was born for? Or was I born to curl up under the covers and keep warm?" After this reflection, Marcus Aurelius dialogues with himself and answers, "It's more comfortable in bed than working." So you were born to feel comfortable. Don't you see how the plants, birds, ants, spiders, and bees perform their individual tasks, putting the world in order in the best possible way? And you're not willing to do what is due of you as a human being. We do need to sleep at some point, but nature has imposed a limit on that, just as it did with eating and drinking. And you've had enough. He goes on to state that we don't love ourselves enough, because if we did, we would also love our nature and what it demands of us. People who love what they do dedicate themselves to it. Sometimes they forget to wash or eat. They have more respect for their own nature than the sculptor has for the sculpture, the dancer for the dance, or the miser for money. When they are truly immersed in what they do, they prefer to forego eating and sleeping rather than abandoning the practices of their arts. When Marcus Aurelius speaks of work, he refers to the actions that a human must perform in their day-to-day life, not just professional work. With this reflection, we are encouraged to take responsibility for our time and our actions. Imagine if he hadn't acted this way. He probably wouldn't be considered one of the 5 good emperors of the Roman Empire. As an emperor, he had to lead the government and couldn't leave his tasks undone, as all the citizens of the Roman Empire depended on him. This can also be applied to our lives. We were not born to act like plants, motionless and without responsibilities. We are human beings and we must behave as such. Don't let the temptation of momentary pleasure cloud your judgment. There's no better feeling than when you know you've acted correctly, responsibly. Nothing compares to the satisfaction of a job well done. You need to get up. You need to start working. Don't abandon your tasks. The moment is now, because you don't know how much time you have. Marcus Aurelius noted this in his personal diary to remember it every day. We should do the same. When in the morning you don't feel like getting up, fulfilling your responsibilities, or are constantly thinking about the weekend or dreading Monday, remember these words of Marcus Aurelius. Do you have any tricks to avoid this kind of negative thinking? I await your response in the comments. Here I leave 10 historical phrases from famous Stoics to help you start the day well. 1. The only way to happiness is to cease worrying about things beyond the power of our will. 2. Start the day remembering that inner strength is more valuable than anything external. 3. We are not disturbed by things but by the view we take of them. 4. Another's prosperity is not my misery. 5. The secret of happiness is freedom. The secret of freedom is courage. 6. Don't expect events to happen as you wish. Accept them as they happen so that you can live in peace. 7. It is not things themselves that disturb people but their judgments about those things. 8. Life is short, and the only time suitable for pursuing one's happiness is the present. 9. It is not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters. 10. Wake up with determination. Go to bed with satisfaction. These phrases can serve as powerful reminders of Stoic principles and help guide your thinking and behavior throughout the day. Probably if you're watching this video, it's because procrastination is a fundamental problem in your life. In my case, most of my problems arose from procrastination. When you stop doing what you should and keep delaying, things start to come up. All sorts of problems arise. Your productivity decreases, anxiety appears in your life, you start to avoid responsibilities, and worst of all is the constant feeling that you're not doing what you should. The Stoics were very concerned about procrastination. We have examples of Stoic philosophers such as Seneca or Marcus Aurelius, who had many responsibilities in their lives and could not afford to procrastinate. It's not simple because we prefer instant satisfaction instead of making an effort. Discipline and overcoming procrastination are two tasks that complement each other. Despite not being easy, if you're watching this video, it's because you want to change. You want to start being productive and be the owner of your mind and actions. Overcoming procrastination will make you happier because you will feel at peace with yourself by acting responsibly. It seems incredible that Marcus Aurelius had the same hours in a day as you and I to do his work and fulfill his responsibilities. How did he have time to be an emperor, rule the most extensive and powerful empire of antiquity, be a philosopher-writer, take care of his wife, create laws, attend trials, lead armies, and guide the Roman people through a terrible plague? All this while being just and not falling into the vices or temptations that other emperors fell into. The key to Marcus Aurelius's success is that he always had a routine, developed habits in his life that allowed him to overcome laziness and avoid procrastination. In the end, the key to not procrastinating is to have a routine. Marcus Aurelius converted all his responsibilities into a fundamental part of his life, just as we need to eat, wash, and sleep. He turned these responsibilities into essentials to the point where he couldn't live without fulfilling them all. Stoics understood that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. For example, for Marcus Aurelius, the day started early, at dawn. When he woke up, he understood that he was rising to do the work of a human being. There was no time for him to stay in bed. He began the day by writing in his personal diary, dedicating a few minutes to write his thoughts and organize his mind, remembering what was important. Then he prepared to face his responsibilities and the people around him. He would tell himself, "The people you will encounter today will be disrespectful and ungrateful. They will try to irritate and frustrate you." Marcus Aurelius knew that he couldn't let these people affect his judgment and his happiness. He was clear that he had to act as he deemed right. After this, Marcus Aurelius started with his most important responsibilities because he wanted to begin them when he was rested and ready to work. He focused on the task at hand like a Roman, acting as if it were the most important thing, as he said in his meditations. As seen in his routine, there's no room for procrastination. You might be wondering, how can you act like Marcus Aurelius and overcome procrastination? How can you prepare yourself mentally? What tricks can you follow? Next, I will explain 7 tricks that personally help me avoid procrastination. They are divided into 2 parts: The first will be about preparing the mind to avoid procrastination, and the second will be about actions we can take to overcome procrastination. Part 1. Prepare the mind, change your focus. Procrastination is a first-world problem. We procrastinate because we can afford it. We must increase the sense of urgency when performing our responsibilities. By procrastinating and setting a deadline to complete what we must do, we end up doing it on the last day, when there is little time left to meet the deadline. It seems that when the last day arrives, laziness disappears. We are productive and act as we should, and this happens because of the sense of urgency. Setting our own deadlines to fulfill our responsibilities would increase our urgency to work and help overcome procrastination. We might even count on a family member or friend to help us meet this deadline by establishing a consequence if we fail to comply. Part 2. Avoid low-level distraction. Usually when we procrastinate, the actions that replace what we should do are often low-level distractions. This means that we waste time doing something that doesn't benefit us. We should realize that besides not adding anything to us, we also don't fully enjoy this distraction, because deep down we know we should be doing something else. Hence, not only does it not help us at all, but we also don't fully indulge in that distraction. Therefore, we should work first and enjoy later. 3. Rearrange your responsibilities. There are tasks that are difficult or that take a lot of time to complete, and this type of task can overwhelm us and lead us to procrastinate. If I ask you if you can work for 5 hours without getting distracted, probably you can't. But could you work for 1 hour without getting distracted? Right, it's more likely that you can do that, and you can do it for 5 minutes. Everyone is capable of working for 5 minutes straight. If we apply this logic to long or difficult tasks, that is, by breaking down these tasks into smaller parts and viewing them as single, shorter, and achievable tasks, facing our responsibilities this way will likely help us overcome procrastination. Every procrastinator knows that the hardest part is always starting the task. Once you begin, you overcome the most challenging part. Force yourself to start. Don't think about how long it will take to finish your task. Don't even think about finishing or the difficulty of what needs to be done. Just start with the first step, because it's the hardest but also the most important, and it will give you the momentum to proceed to the second step. Being a procrastinator also has its advantage, because once you start, you don't want to stop, as you are aware of the difficulty of restarting or resuming the task. One of the tricks I use in my life to take the first step is the 5-4-3-2-1 rule. It involves counting from 5 down to 0, and when you reach 0, start the task. The idea is to clear your mind, not to think about anything, just to start. Count from 5 and start without personal thinking. This trick helps me a lot in life. Whenever I want to do something that bothers me, I count down from 5 and do it without thinking. 6. The Pomodoro technique is a trick to divide your work time into more manageable portions, making it simpler to face your tasks. It's hard to start working if you think you have 5 hours ahead, for example. But if you divide this time using the Pomodoro technique, you'll be able to handle your work more easily. The technique involves working for 25 minutes straight and then taking a 5-minute break. That would be 1 Pomodoro. After 4 Pomodoros, take a 20-minute break and repeat the process. Everyone is capable of working for 25 minutes straight. And by doing 4 Pomodoros, we work for 1 hour and 40 minutes, 100% focused, and then rest for 20 minutes. Facing 1 hour and 40 minutes of continuous work is tough. We can get distracted if we're not 100% focused, and perhaps we might not even start because we'd end up procrastinating. But with this trick, you can tackle the work in 25-minute parts that everyone can do with 100% productivity. 7. Eliminate distractions. Our brain always seeks the easiest path. If you have your cell phone near your workspace, a video game, or anything that can distract you, remove all these distractions from your workspace. Design an environment that makes procrastination difficult, where the only thing you can do is finish your task. Start by identifying what prevents you from doing the work and eliminate these distractions from your workspace to prevent procrastination from being easy. Did you like these tips to avoid procrastination? Do you apply any other trick? I await your response in the comments. Remember that we need discipline to effectively apply all the tricks I mentioned earlier. Without discipline and the will to change, we won't achieve anything. The Stoics viewed solitude as a tool for self-discovery and personal growth. Today we will explore 10 benefits of solitude from a Stoic perspective and how you can apply them in your modern life. 1. The appreciation of solitude. In Stoicism, we find a profound appreciation for solitude. Contrary to what modern society often perceives, the Stoics didn't view solitude as a source of sadness. On the contrary, they considered it a valuable space for introspection, self-awareness, and moral growth. In a noisy world filled with distractions, the Stoics saw solitude as a wise teacher, offering moments of peace and isolation in which we can confront our true feelings, desires, and values without the masks we wear in society. The Stoics embraced self-sufficiency, or inner independence and emotional control. In solitude, they saw it as a way to develop this self-sufficiency, because when alone we don't depend on the opinions or expectations of others to find peace and happiness for ourselves. Solitude allowed us to develop an internal strength that was not shaken by external fluctuations. 2. Profound self-knowledge. An important theme of Stoic philosophy is profound self-knowledge. Solitude provides a safe space for us to look inward and explore the hidden corners of our minds and hearts that we rarely consider. Imagine solitude as a mirror that reflects the true self, silently allowing us to face the truth within us and discover what truly motivates us. We observe our emotional reactions, fears, aspirations, and doubts. Solitude allows us to see ourselves without external judgments, without masks or pretensions. Self-awareness. Just like self-sufficiency, the Stoics view deep self-knowledge as essential to achieving the inner independence that frees us from the need for external approval. By understanding who we really are, we can stop seeking validation from others and begin to find it within ourselves. This self-sufficiency brings us lasting peace, because we are not affected by the constantly changing opinions of the external world. Practicing internal dialogue. A powerful aspect of self-awareness is internal dialogue. Imagine yourself sitting alone, like an intellectual and compassionate friend, reflecting on your choices, desires, and mistakes. This sincere dialogue helps us better understand ourselves and allows us to make decisions more aligned with our true nature and values. 3. We'll delve into a theme that deeply resonated with the ancient Stoics, the development of autarky, self-sufficiency. Have you ever wondered how to achieve inner peace without depending on external circumstances? The answer may lie in Stoic solitude and independence. The power of self-sufficiency is a fundamental concept in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed in the importance of cultivating an inner strength that was not affected by the vicissitudes of the external world. Solitude plays a significant role in this process, because it allows us to disconnect from distractions and the noise of the world to focus on ourselves and reduce external impact. Independence can be seen as armor that shields us from external influences. When we are constantly surrounded by others' opinions, expectations, and judgments, our inner peace becomes a constant struggle. Solitude allows us to step away from this external influence and start trusting our wisdom and discernment. The opportunity for self-mastery. The Stoics believed that one of the greatest achievements of self-sufficiency was self-control. When we are alone, we need to deal with our own emotional reactions and impulses. We learn to observe them without automatically yielding to them. This self-control allows us to make conscious and ethical decisions instead of reacting automatically to situations. Learning to live with less. In a world obsessed with accumulation and consumption, self-sufficiency allows us to live with less. The Stoics valued simplicity and moderation. Solitude gives us the opportunity to appreciate the essentials and not depend on material possessions for our satisfaction. We learn to find wealth within ourselves instead of seeking it in the external world. 4. Facing emotions. Now we'll address a deeply interesting topic to us all: the management of emotions from a Stoic perspective. How can we deal wisely and calmly with our emotions? Solitude can be a valuable ally in this process of understanding emotions. Emotions are like waves in the ocean, sometimes gentle and other times stormy. The Stoics understood that emotions were part of the human experience, but also recognized the importance of not being enslaved by them. Solitude provides a safe space to explore our emotions without external judgments or pressures. Dissociative observation. Imagine solitude as a laboratory for observing your emotions. When alone, we have the opportunity to objectively see our emotions rather than be carried away by them. We can observe them like clouds moving across the sky. This distance allows us to react more intelligently rather than impulsively. Stoic technique. The Stoics developed powerful techniques to deal with emotions on their own. One of them is anticipation, in which we imagine difficult situations and practice our calm and rational responses. Another technique is meditation on death, which helps us put our concerns into perspective and live in the present moment with gratitude. The Stoics believed that we could transform our emotions into virtues. For example, fear could transform into courage, anger into self-discipline, and sadness into resilience. Solitude provides space to reflect on our emotions, understand their origins, and channel their energy into virtuous actions. 5. Clarity and decision-making. Now let's discuss a highly relevant topic, clarity and decision-making from a Stoic perspective. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the decisions you need to make? Can solitude be a reliable guide in this process? The decisive battle at life's crossroads. Decisions surround us like stars in the night sky. Often confusion caused by external opinions can make it difficult to make the right decision. Solitude offers a space of silence and reflection to calmly and clearly consider our options. The refuge of solitude. Imagine solitude as a refuge amidst a storm. In difficult times, we can step away from external voices and expectations to find inner comfort. Solitude offers a safe space for managing our emotions, reflecting on the situation, and finding the strength to face challenges with courage. 6. Stoic view of adversity. The Stoics saw adversity as an opportunity to strengthen the soul. In solitude, we can adopt a historical perspective and ask ourselves, what can I learn from this situation? How can I grow despite this challenge? Solitude allows us to transform adversity into an opportunity to cultivate virtues such as patience, self-discipline, and resilience. Mental training in solitude. Just as an athlete trains to gain physical strength, in solitude we can train our minds to face challenges calmly. Imagining possible obstacles and how we would respond with resilience and independence. This spiritual practice allows us to proactively face challenges. 7. Appreciation of simple things. We will now delve into a topic that connects us to joy and contentment, the appreciation of simple things. Have you ever felt that constantly seeking more hinders your happiness? Solitude can help you find happiness in simplicity. Desire for simplicity. In a society dominated by consumerism and the constant pursuit of novelties, the Stoics remind us of the beauty of simplicity. Solitude offers us space to detach from the noise and observe the joys that we often overlook. It invites us to enjoy everyday moments and find satisfaction in what we already have. Relationship between satisfaction and solitude. The Stoics considered joy as an essential virtue to find inner peace. Solitude helps us cultivate this virtue by allowing us to explore our relationship with the constant desire for more. In solitude, we question if our desires are genuine or if we are simply trapped in the relentless pursuit of more. Gratitude is a pillar of Stoic philosophy. In solitude, we can practice gratitude by reflecting on the blessings we've had in life, appreciating health, relationships, comfort, and the beauty around us. This helps us find happiness in the present instead of constantly seeking it in the future. 8. Fostering internal dialogue. Now we address a topic that invites us to delve deeply into our minds, fostering internal dialogue. As it involves honest conversations with oneself, solitude can be a space for self-discovery through dialogue. Speaking to oneself is like having a wise and compassionate friend in your mind. In solitude, we engage in conversations with ourselves, discovering our thoughts, desires, and values. Solitude offers a safe space where we can speak without judgment, reflecting on our lives. Tranquil space for deep contemplation. Imagine solitude as a reflective studio where you discover the deepest questions of your existence. When alone, we can take time to reflect on our decisions, goals, and direction. Internal dialogue allows us to ask questions, challenge our beliefs, and explore new perspectives. The power of deep questions. The Stoics believed in the power of reflective questions for self-discovery. In solitude, we can ask ourselves questions that awaken our inner wisdom, questions such as, what is truly important to me? What qualities do I wish to cultivate? How can I live in harmony with nature? These questions guide us into a deep dialogue with ourselves. Turning internal dialogue into action. Internal dialogue isn't just about thought but also action. In solitude, we can plan how to apply our reflections to our daily lives. Internal dialogue helps us put wisdom into action, setting goals and making decisions aligned with our deepest values. 9. Connection with nature and the universe. Now, we address a topic that connects us to the vastness of the universe, the connection with nature and the universe from a Stoic perspective. Have you ever marveled at the immensity of the world around you? Solitude can be your guide to discovering this profound connection. The universe as the master. The Stoics viewed the universe as a great teacher that contained lessons about the nature of life and virtue. In solitude, we can look at the stars in the sky and feel that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. This connection with the universe invites us to reflect on our existence and our role in the cosmic order. Reflection in nature. Imagine solitude as a bridge between your mind and nature. When alone, we can wander through the forest, contemplate the sea, or simply enjoy the sunset. Solitude offers us the opportunity to enjoy the natural beauty and reflect on how nature reflects Stoic virtues like harmony and resilience. The Stoics believed in the relative insignificance of human affairs in relation to the cosmic order. In solitude, we can reflect on how our individual interests and desires fade in the vast universe. This perspective helps us give less importance to trivialities and focus on what truly matters. Cultivating virtue and wisdom. Finding harmony with nature was essential for the Stoics to find inner peace. In solitude, we can discover how our actions and decisions fit into the cosmic order. We reflect on how our choices affect others and the environment around us. 10. Cultivating virtue and wisdom. Now we arrive at a topic that encapsulates the core of Stoicism, the cultivation of virtue and inner peace. Have you ever desired to live wisely and peacefully amidst trials? Solitude can be your guide on this noble path. Virtue is the ultimate goal. For the Stoics, virtue was the aspiration. Imagine virtue as a guiding beacon for your actions and decisions in life. In solitude, you can reflect on how to live virtuously in different circumstances, finding inner peace. Inner tranquility is one of the most precious pillars of Stoicism. Amidst chaos, solitude helps you find a peaceful haven. You can meditate on maintaining serenity in difficult situations and utilize solitude as an oasis to emotionally recharge. The Stoics understood that self-discipline was essential to cultivate virtue and equanimity. Solitude provides the space for you to practice self-discipline in small ways, like resisting distractions and focusing on what truly matters. This practice strengthens you to face the temptations and challenges of daily life. Solitude is fertile ground for reflection and self-transcendence. You can examine your past actions, identify areas where you can grow, and set goals to become a more ethical and balanced person. Solitude offers the space to nurture a continuous commitment to your personal growth. As we navigate modern life, we can apply these Stoic teachings, finding moments of solitude to cultivate self-sufficiency, face our emotions serenely, make informed decisions, and above all seek virtue and inner tranquility. Remember that you have the power to create moments of solitude in your life, whether through meditation, contemplation in nature, reflective reading, or self-dialogue. By doing so, you follow in the footsteps of the ancient Stoics and tread a path of self-discovery and spiritual growth. The most important lesson I had to learn was not to force anything: conversations, friendships, relationships, attention, and love. Forced things are not worth it. What flows, flows, and what fails, fails. It was hard, but I learned to recover and move on without the people I thought would be in my life forever. This is just one of the many lessons that we only learn with time. And here in this exploration, I will share the main experiences of a seasoned wise man, his mistakes so that you don't have to make them too, and also his successes so that you can be inspired. After all, a seasoned person is the witness of many dawns and dusks, sighed through the tumultuous seas of existence. And I hope the following words can comfort you with peace and wisdom. The tranquility of knowing that you are a good person and are not seeking to ruin the lives of others cannot be taken from you. Your conscience is priceless and is the foundation of your happiness. Therefore, for every conscious action you take, always consider what will linger in your thoughts, because they are the basis of your conscience and inner strength. No matter how much negative energy they try to cast upon you, life is such a good teacher that it will repeat the lesson if you don't learn it. So try to learn from the mistakes of others. It will be a less painful and more efficient path. Don't be afraid to lose someone who doesn't feel lucky to have you. Some people discourage you only because they are afraid you will realize your true potential and achieve what they themselves don't have the courage to try. Choose your life partner carefully, because that decision will determine 90% of your happiness or sadness. When someone helps you and is going through a tough situation, that's not just help, that's love. I had to make a tough decision. I had to distance myself from something I wanted in my life because I knew it was hurting me. That was the most beautiful demonstration of self-love I ever dedicated to myself. It's never too late to embark on a new journey, live a new story, or build a new dream. I stopped chasing life a long time ago because I realized it knows exactly where I am. Your peace of mind begins when you decide to break ties that don't add to your life. Here I will mention some lessons I learned from interacting with many other people, which made me reflect on who I would like to be with, and also when I realized I was just being used. Therefore, give, but don't allow others to use you. Love, but don't allow others to abuse your heart. Trust, but don't be naive. Listen, but don't lose your own voice. This balance may seem complicated, but it is actually something very simple. And with age, it becomes increasingly clear who are the people you should be with. Maybe you already know this answer, because it is within you in your deepest intuition. So use that perception and wisdom. Some people, when they see that they can't match you, let alone surpass you, will try to defame you. That's called envy. It was hard, but in the end I understood that the person I never offended has offended me many times. People won't notice everything you do for them until you stop doing it. Another great lesson that is an important part of our personal development is about how we should value the trust of those who deserve it. If you manage to deceive someone, it doesn't mean that the person is foolish. It means they trusted you more than you deserved. Love exists. Friends exist. What almost doesn't exist are people capable of taking on these roles. When you fail with me, make sure I won't need you anymore. Take the power away from everything that disturbs you. According to Stoicism, if something doesn't exist in your mind, it won't exist in your life. Karma isn't the universe's revenge, but a reflection of your actions. So worry more about what you give than what you'll receive. Naturally, over time, you live the life you've always desired, because happy people dedicate themselves to building their own world, while unhappy people blame the rest of the world for everything that goes wrong in their lives. There are no excuses for someone who had 1,000 opportunities to do the right things and chose to keep doing wrong. Learn to set boundaries, because everything that is allowed unfortunately repeats itself. If you think others will do for you what you do for them, you'll be disappointed. When dealing with people who had numerous opportunities to make right decisions, but chose a different path, it's vital to recognize that there are no excuses for this behavior. The ability to make ethical choices and correct mistakes is present in all of us, and those who repeatedly choose the wrong path demonstrate a lack of commitment to fundamental values. Thus, the most important thing you should do if you're in a hole is to stop digging. The importance of setting boundaries becomes evident in this context. Repeatedly allowing someone to cross boundaries or ignore ethical principles establishes a harmful pattern. By setting clear limits and not allowing deviations, you are defending your own values and respecting the integrity of the relationship. Anything that is allowed, especially when it goes against your principles, creates a conducive environment for the repetition of such behavior. The notion of reciprocity is also crucial. Expecting others to treat you the way you treat them is understandable, but it's important to recognize that not everyone shares the same ethics or willingness to act reciprocally. Placing this expectation on others' actions can lead to disappointments because each individual has their own way of interacting with the world. Stop giving explanations when you realize that people only understand from their own level of perception. At the same time, don't abuse good people. They may forgive you hundreds of times, but when they get tired and decide to leave, they will never come back. Worrying doesn't remove tomorrow's problems, but it steals today's peace. Quickly run away from people who are only by your side while you have something to offer. When addressing worry, it's crucial to understand that anticipating future problems doesn't solve them. On the contrary, constant worry about tomorrow can become an emotional burden, robbing the peace and balance of the present moment. It's prudent to recognize that many of the problems that disturb us may never materialize, and spending excessive mental energy on them only contributes to anxiety. At the same time, careful choice of companions is crucial. People who are by your side only when you have something to offer, but disappear in difficult times, reveal an opportunistic relationship pattern. These connections are often superficial and based on temporary interests. It's wise to keep a distance from such relationships, as they can become sources of stress and disillusionment. Who disappoints you once will disappoint you 1,000 times. If you fall in love with two people, choose the second one, because if you were truly in love with the first, you wouldn't have fallen for the second. When playing with children, let them win. Seek advice only from people who are where you want to be, because there will always be a new opportunity, a new job, a new love, a new friendship, but never another life. There is no waste when you embrace loneliness. It's hard to fall in love with anyone again when someone allows you into their soul. Don't forget to take off your shoes because there are places that are sacred. The less sex you have, the more inspiration you'll have to create and use your talents in what you are passionate about. As an adult, live like a young person, advise like an elder, and never stop dreaming like a child. And if no one wants to accompany you, go alone and without fear. Don't worry, you'll meet people along the way. Somewhere in the world, someone is dreaming of having the life you have. Be grateful, and within your possibilities, help create a better world for everyone. Never regret having a good heart. Remember that all the good comes back multiplying. By recognizing that somewhere in the world someone wishes for the life we have, we are reminded of the importance of gratitude. A practice of gratitude involves consciously appreciating the blessings and positive experiences we have. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges, but focusing on what is good in our lives. Gratitude not only improves one's perspective on life, but also creates a more positive mindset that generates happiness. The instruction to never regret having a good heart emphasizes the importance of maintaining kindness, even in the face of challenges or disappointments. Having a generous heart is a virtue that benefits not only others, but also contributes to one's own emotional well-being. Positive actions, even if not immediately recognized, have a lasting impact. Love a lot, fall in love 1,000 times, and remember that your happiness depends on only one person, yourself. There is a brief moment in life when you feel more lost than ever. This moment is the beginning of an encounter with yourself. Think 20 times before betraying a friend. Then think 50 times. Then keep thinking. Valuable things in life may seem worthless until you lose them. And a friend has measurable value. One does not triumph who has not had difficult moments. One triumphs who has gone through them and resisted. The present is not in the packaging. The present is always the hands that deliver it. Be like the supportive wolf of the pack, and strong in solitude. What is loved with the soul cannot be torn away by memory. Inner peace begins on the day you decide not to let another person control your emotions. No matter how much you search in other gardens, you will never find the same flower. Don't make a permanent decision for a temporary emotion. The important thing is to fight to live life, suffer it, enjoy it. Losing with dignity is trying again. Life is wonderful if we're not afraid of it. Before complaining, look around and be thankful for what you have. There is no lack of time. There is a lack of interest. Because when people really want to, the dawn becomes day, Tuesday becomes Saturday, and the moment becomes an opportunity. Prioritization is often determined by levels of motivation and commitment. Claims of lack of time can be a subtle way of expressing a lack of priority. When a person is truly interested in something, they find time for it, regardless of how busy their schedule may seem. This highlights the importance of identifying and investing time in what truly matters, revealing someone's true priorities. This behavior applies to everything, including relationships. So seek those who prioritize you. If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to like and subscribe to Strength Within for more content. Additionally, please leave your comments and share your experiences. See you soon.